So hello everyone, and welcome to this month's webinar. Today we're going to look at B2B membership, trade associations, and how various tools, including AI, can help with engagement and development and member delight. So what we're going to do today is we're going to cover the three of us, but we've also got a guest who's Rory from the Loan Market Association. But we're going to cover a range of different areas, which we'll go through in a minute. Just some webinar etiquette. Please, we've got interactive chat, so please use that for any questions that you have throughout the meeting. We'll try and answer some in the meeting. We'll have time at the end, and also there's a questions and answers session with Rory from the LMA. So any questions you've got for him about his experience and plans, then please put those in the questions as well. So what we're going to look at is we're going to hear from Alan first. He's going to cover what the common issues are around B2B, particularly around the business, corporate, institutional management side of it. Then we'll look at some examples. Rory and I will be having a chat at the end, and then we've got questions and answers as well. So that's the agenda. And with that, I'd like to hand over to Alan. So over to you go.
Fantastic, Steve. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. My name's Alan Reed. I'm an independent consultant in the membership and charity space, and I've been working with B2B organisations since the late 90s. So apologies in advance if some of what I say sounds like a bit of a rant, because an awful lot of what B2B organisations in membership are struggling with are things that should have really been solved an awful long time ago. But I keep hearing from various trade associations and people who have individual memberships, but also have some corporate members, that they're essentially still struggling with some of these things. So let's get into that. So first of all, the question is, why is it harder as a B2B membership organization, whether you call yourself a trade association or an organization that manages corporate memberships or a B2B membership body? Why is it so much more challenging? Well, the first thing is that proving value tends to be a lot less simple, because of course, if you're an accounting professional body or something along those lines, then the content that you're providing to people, all of the value they're getting out of the events, the same person who's consuming all of that is the same person making the decision about whether to renew, whether to do it some more. And of course, those things are challenging. But if you're trying to prove the value in the abstract to someone who isn't consuming all of your services and your value, then of course you've got to work harder in making sure the information you put in front of that accountant or someone deciding whether to pay your bill or not is good enough to justify the bill. Then of course there's the stakeholder challenges. This one keeps happening. People are leaving all of the time. I might have a member organization that pays us many thousands a year, but I'm only engaged with 2 or 3 people there, which of course makes me very exposed, makes me very vulnerable. You can lose your key supporters as they move around or merge or otherwise leave the organization. And then lots and lots of complaints like, you don't really know us, because although we won't take a second to tell you what's changed about our organization, we expect you to know who's left and what different job titles people have and so on. And then, of course, there's the passenger problem. Everyone who runs a B2B membership knows about this one, where you're doing all sorts of fantastic campaigns, you're lobbying, you're bringing about great change in industry, and then others are going, yes, keep it up. I'm not going to pay. I'm not going to support you directly with money, but I love what you're doing. And how do you translate them being a passenger into them being a member is always part of the B2B challenges. Then, of course, keeping up with the technology expectations. The reality is, and we're going to go into more detail about this, the great majority of systems, particularly when it comes to online and via the web, are designed for B2C relationships, which means that people tend to have to work harder outside of their systems, and people are still working in spreadsheets and so on in order to fill that gap manually. So let's get into that in a bit more detail. So the short version really is that the great majority of systems, even in 2025, don't really understand the B2B relationship. So you see software vendors all of the time saying, look, I can attach a person to their employer. Isn't that marvelous? I can show you a list of people who work at that organization. Isn't that marvelous? And they just don't know what they don't know. They don't know that someone who's trying to explain the value across a dozen people or 100 people to the employer's accountant is going to need an awful lot more of that, more than that. And of course, there's all sorts of things to do with analytics and warmth ratings and engagement scoring that only works at the individual level and really doesn't help when you're trying to prove your value to the abstract partner. So let's look at some really common challenges. One thing that really encapsulates the gap for B2B membership organizations, I find, is when you're trying to do things properly online. Now, bear in mind, everything I'm about to show you or just list off are things that were working perfectly well in the late 1990s in a software company that I was working with. So to find that there's still problems in 2025 really is a bit of an indictment on the wider supplier marketplace. So first of all, B2B member organizations will say, we want nominated contacts to be able to, for instance, manage the organization's profile. So you can choose as a B2B organization to say this person and that person can update the organization and their industry sector and bits and pieces at my discretion of what I want them to edit. This and that contact can edit their colleagues' data to say that that person has left, or can invite other colleagues to join and start getting benefits from the membership. And then the system takes over. It invites them, allows them to profile themselves and so on. And then, of course, being able to produce an online value summary to show what the organization is getting out of membership. Then additionally, part of the problems that B2Bs have is that personalization is based only on the person and not their employer. So that means that the person comes to the website and it doesn't seem to know that their employer is in this industry sector and not that industry sector. So it just kind of screams out, I don't know anything about you when the individual comes. Then a common challenges are, particularly with some B2B organizations, that a number of individuals who are employees of their members are also directors of other members, consultants at other members. They'll have multiple web email addresses and multiple relationships with their members. Systems just don't cope with that at all. And then, of course, allowing people to say, I'm a member, I want to take this thing, but please send me an invoice later, is really very poorly supported. So then we find that it's very, if you go to the supplier and say, I want to be able to get an overview online, my member, to be able to see what benefits are available to them, what's been consumed, that's just seen as unheard of and new. And then, of course, a lot of B2B systems and online can't seem to manage this whole idea that their member organizations are part of groups. The member organization might be Barclays Intergalactic Finance Organization. And of course, that's based in different countries and all sorts of different groups. And not all of them are part of the membership arrangement. And a lot of software systems really struggle with those basic kind of concepts. Then there are other challenges around managing the benefits and member entitlements as a B2B. So we want, these are really very common things, that we want our B2B members to be able to get, say, 20 training places for free as part of your membership. And you want your supplier to be able to say, yep, that's great. We've done that 3 or 4 different ways. Here's how we find that works really well. Or we'd like to have event and training bookings to be approved by one particular member, so that somebody can't just consume the whole member benefit without someone else knowing about it. And of course, being able to pay using the credit fund that they've got as part of membership. Similarly, it's really common these days to have B2B members where not the whole organization is included under the fee, and that the system needs to be sensitive to that. And then the whole topic of reporting analytics should be available at a company level, group level, and individual level. So when you're looking at who are my members at risk, who's doing engagement scoring to see where are my opportunities to do more with this or that organization. So many people are finding that it works at the individual level, and then they have to do the roll up to the organization level manually, which is clearly a problem. And then this whole idea of automatically sending a value statement alongside your renewal notice, and that value statement shows the entirety of the benefit that the organization has received from you this year, that should be extremely basic, and you should be talking about how best to do it, not whether you can or cannot do it. So these are a lot of the challenges that are still around in 2025. Just to summarize all of that really quickly. Even the big box CRM systems like Dynamics and Salesforce, etc., out of the box, they do tend to be poor at B2B. They tend to be written for B2C. And then it really takes the technology partner to add that value. All technologies and all technology partners are a product of what their customers have forced them to do over the years. So you really do need to have essentially people who have done this before. The technology partner has to have delivered online B2B relationships, has to have managed providing all of these benefits to their online stakeholders, and then getting away from the reality that their systems only understand B2C relationships, which is a much simpler way of managing value. Great. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Jeremy there, and please do drop your questions into the Q&A, by the way, all of the way through, if you can, and then I'll hear from people at the end. Thanks a lot, Jeremy.
Thanks, Alan. I'm just trying to share my screen. Is that coming through?
Yeah, can see it
Okay,
perfectly.
perfect. And then I'll flick to the right slide, which I have done. So good morning, everybody. My name is Jeremy J. Lee. I'm Business Development Lead here at Smart Impact. And I've been asked this morning to discuss what B2B engagement in a modern CRM and membership management system should look like. And to do that, I'm actually going to use a case study from one of our clients, SRA, which is the Solicitors Regulation Authority, to demonstrate how they have used their system to engage with members, give members and employees at member organisations the tools they need to engage with the organisation, and how they've been able to make some quite complicated processes much easier for members online. In doing that, I'm going to sort of round off by talking about why it's so important to get your data house in order so that you can unlock some modern tools and really start improving how you are engaging with your stakeholders. So that's really the thrust of this. So I'm going to start by talking about managing individuals in company memberships. And I think it's really important to just sort of set the scene here. So in broad terms, B2B organizations are memberships are between membership associations and organizations. So the member of the association is the organization, but obviously the key stakeholders, the people that you're actually trying to engage with as the association, are the employees of that organization. And what that tends to mean is that you have to get different messages and different bits of information to different people at different times in their relationship with you. So it's a lot about delivering the right tools, the right services, but critically for the organizational member, making sure that the individuals in your business are identified and that the organization can interact with them. Just in terms of SRA is a very large regulator. Most of their interactions are with law firms for whom solicitors work. So they've got 200,000 registrants or members in their ecosystem and 112,000 firms. And what tends to happen is that the firms really manage the relationship for their professionals between them and the regulator, so that the professionals can focus on their day-to-day work of providing legal services to their clients. So being able to sort of lower that administrative burden is really, really important. So I'm looking at the SRA's portal. So this is the web tool that we deliver to the registrants and employers to manage their relationship with the organisation. And you'll notice that there's a few things going on. There's a call to action up here. So there's something that SRA is trying to alert the organisation to do to support its members, and call to actions like that really important in directing people to the right action at the right time. There's also an area where they can manage their profile, so where the organisation staff member can go in and update information about the law firm, you know, perhaps what type of business they are, who they work with, how many employees they have, etc. And also an area where they can manage administrative tasks for their organisation. And it's in this section that most of the functionality I'm going to be looking at today resides. So one thing they can do is manage their members. I'm sorry about these orange boxes that I have on the screen. Obviously, we have to redact quite a lot of this data when we're using client examples. So apologies, there's quite a few of those. But you'll be able to see here that the staff organisation, the staff member at the organisation has a nice list view where they can manage different employees at this business. They've also got a search functionality at the top of the screen here where they can query their particular lawyers. So if they want to sort of slim down the list, perhaps just to look at people in a particular role or with a particular position, they can do that. And you can see over here in the right hand column that they can undertake certain actions on behalf of those employees. So it's a variety of different things they can do. They can add people as employees, terminate employment. They can manage things like practice certificates and various other registrations that solicitors need to practice. But the point is, it makes it nice and easy for the staff member to find the information they need and to find the actions that they need to undertake. If they click in on one of those members, here you can see the information that they control. Again, apologies for the redactions, but they can manage people's names, they can manage things like date of birth, they can update contact details. If they want to, they can add things like work categories and jurisdictions so that SRA knows about the employees and knows what they might be interested in from a content perspective, because they are interested in a particular area or working in a particular area of law or working in a particular jurisdiction. So again, tools to make it easy for the organisation to tell the regulator about their employees and to start guiding the regulator to what type of information they might be sharing with these particular employees. They can also update things like employment status. So you can see simple tasks here that the staff member at the organisational member can do. They can change places of work. They can renew people's practice certificates. I'm going to be looking at that next. There's quite an intricate process that people have to go through. Or they can manage their personal information. And again, there's a lot of consistency in how these screens work. It makes it very easy and intuitive for staff members to be able to undertake these processes. And when you're working with a large staff team and have a lot of people to organise on behalf of your organisation, that makes it much easier for you to do that. So another thing that you might commonly be doing is managing things like fees. Now, obviously in SRA's case, this is actually your authority to practice fees. So once a year, the organisation has to pay a fee to SRA so that solicitors are able to practice. But in other types of trade association, this might be buying additional services. It might be booking people onto training. It might be subscribing to publications. It might be getting people to come to your annual conference. And the point again here is that you're trying to empower the organisation to take control of that membership relationship between you and the organisation. So if we look at this practice certificate process, effectively you're selecting the fee that you want to pay on behalf of the member, and then there are a variety of other products that you can add to that membership, and these products are all products in your CRM system, so there's a nice line of sight for members of staff to see what people are buying and what each member is entitled to. Notice down here you've then got different types of payment type. Quite a common requirement in trade associations is that they want to be invoiced. Some want to pay immediately by credit or debit card, but most want to be invoiced. So it's important that your membership management system has that functionality and can enable organisation members to set up and authorise invoices, capture things like purchase order numbers if needs be, and get the organisation to send those invoices over. Of course, what I've been looking at thus far is what's happening over on the portal. Back in CRM, records of each of these interactions is really, really important. Actually, we use a case management system in the SRA's environment to manage this. I think being solicitors, thinking in terms of cases and processes as cases is quite common for them. And you'll notice that there's a whole slew of information that is captured every single time an action on the portal takes place, including copies of any invoices that are made or any other documents that you're either capturing as part of those processes or generating as part of those processes. So it means your central data system has a very organized central location for all of that information to reside in. Once you have in this process, once the organisation has submitted that practicing certificate request and the individual has been admitted or readmitted as a solicitor, you're obviously sending out communications to recognise that that has taken place. So this is a automated email that's generated in the system. It gives the individual solicitor the opportunity to view their certificate, gives them information about coming to an admission ceremony, and it also guides them to additional resources that might be of use to them. So this is an example here. It's a pretty specific one, but an example of using the data that you're capturing in your system to tailor the information that you're sending to those individual employees and stakeholders. And obviously, the more you can automate that and the more you can personalize that, the better uptakes you will get from people when they are responding and engaging with these communications. So if the solicitor clicks on view your certificate, the other thing that this system does is actually generate the practicing certificate for those solicitors. So this used to be quite a long and arduous manual process for SRA to generate these practicing certificates and send them out by paper. The system now just creates them. We're able to use, very smartly formatted PDFs to do that, and a record, as we've seen, that practicing certificate has been generated by the solicitor is kept in the system, so they still have that very close level of control and command over the generation and distribution of these. And then finally, just back in the same case over here, you can now see a copy of that practicing certificate a lot across the members' record. So again, that is that close command of those important documents being managed in the system. So then this shows how a modern membership management system can be used to undertake processes on behalf of staff, even quite complicated processes that involve, an application, a payment, and then the generation of some service or benefit, in this case, that practicing certificate, and how you can align that with your communications to get members to engage further with the organisation. A pretty specific example of all of that, but I think you can see quite a lot of the key sort of building blocks need to be in place in your membership management system to achieve all of that. So another big process that SRA undertakes every year for its members is bulk renewal. So this is paying on behalf of already qualified solicitors their annual registration fee to SRA. Just to remind you again of the scale, they've got 200,000 solicitors, 112,000 firms. So those are the companies that those solicitors work for and who tend to be the people that undertake this process. And they undertake £70 million worth of registration fee in 1 month every year. So every October, it's unfortunate in a way that it is all concentrated in that month, but they're regulated to do so. In October every year, solicitors have to pay that registration fee. And again, in this process, this is the organisations taking that burden away from their individual professionals and of undertaking that for them. So here is the bulk renewal screen. Again, you'll notice that it's very, very similar to the layout and look and feel of the practice certificate screen. So you're building familiarity for those staff members who are tasked with administering this. We've got that filter up here again, so you're able to just select particular employees if you perhaps want to do this department by department or office by office or role by role. You can do that, and then a simple interface here where you can select whether or not you are going to be paying bulk renewal for your members. Generally, organisations are doing it for all their members, so there's a process to validate that people remain employed and remain parts of that firm. Some organisations actually have arrangements where they pay for some of their solicitors, the juniors, but the seniors do it themselves, and so you can opt in and out of those payments as well. But this makes that process of renewing sometimes hundreds of solicitors' registrations all in one go very, very quick and easy for the staff members tasked with that. Want to look at another process, and I'm now thinking about interfaces that require both the individuals, so the solicitors themselves, and the organisations to be involved in the process. So sort of a bit of sort of co-working between the employees and the organisations. And the process I'm going to show for this is request for a training contract. So this is when newly qualified solicitors are looking for opportunities to get experience working for a law firm through a training contract. And effectively what happens is once the solicitors are offered that position, they're able to go to SRA's website and tell SRA that they've got that training contract, and SRA like the individual solicitors to be involved in that process so that they are exposed to SRA early and the types of tasks that they have to undertake with them, because ultimately the lawyer is responsible for a relationship with SRA, not the firm per se, but that's a bit of a quirk of SRA. But obviously in doing that, the organisation has to validate that the solicitor is actually indeed one of their trainees and will be doing that training contact with them. So it starts with an application that the individual can fill out. So up here you've got things like capturing the training provider, capturing your SRA number, which office you're going to be working at, the start date and the type of work that you are going to be undertaking, which seat you'll be sitting in, for instance, when you start that training. And the SRA staff, so this is back at SRA HQ, they get a list of all of those trainee lawyers and where they are going to be working. So they've got a central register of all the new trainees in a year. Obviously, in a profession like soliciting, this is a much larger list than the 20 or so we've got on screen, but all of that data captured in SRA's system. Important for them because they need to know who every single solicitor and trainee solicitor is. They then send out a communication from the SRA to the organisation saying, we've had a new application from one of your trainees saying that they're doing a trainee training contract with you. Please will you be able to just complete the process on the SRA website to confirm that that member of staff is going to be starting a training contract with you in the near future. So again, communication automated from the system to those solicitors for them to fulfill. This creates access to a form for the staff members in the organisations, and they effectively get a list of all of the solicitors that have, the trainee solicitors that have said that they are doing a training contract with that organisation. And actually the way this works for most solicitors firms is that there's an administrative review, so someone in the admin team checks the names and then passes that on to a principal who will then actually sort of relate themselves to the trainee and say that they are the principal lawyer with responsibility for that person's training. So again, the system gives the staff organisation the opportunity to send the message to precisely the right person within the organisation for that to take place. So the principals get a list of the people. Obviously, these are busy solicitors. You're trying to minimise the amount of time that they have to spend on these types of activities. Again, you're using calls to action to tell them the things they've got to do. And you'll notice that it's a very, very simple approve, reject, so that they can just say yes or no. The individuals are going to be their trainees. I think we've got an example here of someone being rejected for this. I think it's very unlikely that a trainee solicitor would say that they have got a training contract with an organisation that they don't, but just in case they can, they're able to administer that as well. So that process is again quite intricate, and it involves both input from the individual member and the organisation. They need to work in tangent to get that information back to SRA so that they've got their data in order for those training contracts. The final area I just want to focus on is the staff and the benefits of getting your data house in order. So obviously, building a system like this enables you to capture a lot of data about various stakeholders as they are interacting with your organisation. You're capturing information about the employers, information about the solicitors, information about what people are interested in and how they are interacting with you. So sort of data from their communications and engagement with you that you can use to tailor and personalize your offerings in the future. And actually, one of the big reasons that an organization would use a modern platform like Dynamics 365 to support this is that by getting your data house in order, you can unlock several other benefits, such as better data insights, the ability to refine your benefits and services by understanding how they are used better, but really critically as well, artificial intelligence. And this is obviously an area that is growing exponentially at the moment, but the opportunity to use AI tools to reduce administrative burden and also unlock creativity are absolutely massive. But the foundations of that are having your data house in order and having good data that you can rely on to support that. So I thought I would just show you a little bit around SRA's system again to show you how data is captured. So a lot of time and energy has gone into making sure that the records that you have, both again about the organizations and individuals, are captured and organized in a logical way so that it makes it very, very easy for staff to capture the type of information about their organizations that they need to. And you'll see there's a series of tabs across the top of this record here where various aspects of your relationship with members or employees can be captured. So that kind of organization and thought to how do we streamline the data capture process, make it as easy as possible for the right data to go into the system, really important. On the branches tab, another thing that's often very critical to trade associations and organizational membership organizations is having a good structure for how your businesses operate. So in this example of Goldman Sachs, of course, you've got individual branches of Goldman Sachs in different countries, having that kind of information so that you can map which different offices are in play and where people are working, really important. And there are also a variety of tools to enable you to build hierarchies and organization charts so that you know who works for who, where they work, and the types of roles that people in your organizations have. So those kinds of CRM foundational tools make it very easy for organizational based membership organizations to capture the right data. But then once you have your data in order, there are a variety of things that you'll be wanting to do with it around communications and analytics. And we're finding that having that data house in order enables you to unlock new and quite exciting tools to support this. And AI is a big one. And I thought I'd sort of just describe some of the ways that AI can be used to enhance member engagement. So the first three are really around content generation and personalizing what you're sending to people. And AI technologies are making it a lot easier to generate personalized communications and copy and to personalize that to your various audiences to increase the relevance of your campaigns. So imagine if you're a trade association that's dealing with a particular industry within your employers, you're trying to reach the finance team, the marketing team, the technical team, other teams, and by sending relevant content to those and speaking the language of the people in each of those teams, you can really have much greater impact when that content lands. And there are also other tools that organizations are deploying these days to provide 24/7 access to information. So chatbots are increasingly being used to provide that kind of interaction on websites, and AI-based chatbots can use generative AI to make people feel like they're interacting with an individual or an organization at any time of the day, and critically signpost and guide people to relevant information and content on websites that they are interested in. So some really great ways that AI can be used to enhance how you engage and personalize with members. But the other side of this is using your data to get better insights and better views of how members are interacting and what they are interested in. And AI tools are really, really good at providing predictive insights, predictive analytics that actually in some cases humans wouldn't be able to work out themselves. So things like machine learning and large data analysis can really highlight trends, can highlight ways people are interacting that are very, very difficult to glean if you're not using those tools. And by using those predictive analytics, you can do better member journey mapping. Microsoft is building a load of tools into its marketing automation platform, Customer Insights, that enable organizations to build automated member journeys so that you can effectively use natural language to tell the system how you want it to engage with members, and then it will build campaigns and communications for you, or at least build draft campaigns and draft communications for you that are designed to be highly tailored and highly segmented to those individuals that you're trying to reach. And then when you couple that with much greater sentiment analysis, because AI tools can help you gauge how people are interacting and reacting to the content that you are sending out, you can start building much more detailed insights into individuals that you're engaging with and the organizations they work with. That creates a virtuous circle, because you can start really trying to refine and hone what you're doing. And there are some really exciting case studies of how organizations are using these AI tools to massively improve personalization and massively improve the insights that they can glean about their members. Right, I'm nearing the end. Going to hand over to Steve and Rory for their fireside chat. We've got a load of tips from our experience working with membership-based organisations and B2B organisations in particular, and we're planning to share a load of these with you after the event. I mean, a couple I just want to focus on are: be authoritative. I think trade associations have, real opportunities to be the go-to source for information and news for their industries, and so being authoritative and taking advantage of your networks and the people that you're working with really important. but then also making sure that you are using things like case studies and insights into how people are benefiting from working with you to impress your members, also really, really important, because ultimately membership organizations are people-based businesses, and people will be impressed by the way you are impacting your other members. My screen for some reason has stopped switching to the next slide. Oh, there we go. It finally has. So finally, just to summarize, so as I hope I've shown through some of the demonstration there, one of the key ways that B2B organizations can use their systems is to empower their members to manage their own data, their colleagues' data, to make processes much more easy, and to get the right data that you need so that you can start personalizing and segmenting your communications to those businesses. But it also empowers your staff to get your data house in order, to better measure and report on how B2B members are consuming your benefits and services, to measure engagement at an individual and organization level, and to unlock tools like AI to improve the services and insights that you are able to utilize. And as I said, some great examples of clients of ours who are using these tools. The Fire Industry Association has got a whole range of AI tools within its organization, and it estimates that last year, by using data and AI together, it was able to save £750,000 worth of time that was reinvested in staff being able to focus on much more high quality interactions with members. And much more practically, Hertfordshire Care Providers Association, another organisational based member of ours, uses AI to handle 85% of their incoming certificate evaluations. So they get a lot of certificates from individuals who want to be certified as care practitioners in Hertfordshire. They're using AI to scan those certificates and take that very sort of laborious task away from staff. So huge opportunities out there for organisations that use these tools the way they can be. Steve, I think I'm over to you.
Good. So can everyone see my screen?
It's coming through, yeah.
That's a good start. So, well, look, thanks, Jeremy. I think that was really helpful. I think the points to summarize out of the walkthrough we gave of some of the SRA processes was that you can, on your website, you can automate a lot of processes and pass control of that over to members. But the key thing is that experience should be the same if they're going through the website or they're calling you up. So the process is run out of your CRM system and either then handled by a call taker or handled on the website. And you can see in the SRA situation, obviously this is a big scale operation, that a lot of that control is under the lead member, but equally you can engage with the individual members as well. And that's one of the important parts, clearly, of B2B, that you want as many different contact points as possible in many cases. So that was that was a good, useful overview. So thanks very much for that. What I'd like to do now is introduce Rory, who's one of our customers for the last couple of years. So Rory is from the Loan Market Association. So Rory, welcome, and we're going to have a few questions and answers, I think. So, well, welcome to us, Laura.
Hi, good morning. Hello.
So, firstly, I mean, the LMA has been going, I think, since '96. So about the start of the internet, the digital, the social age that we're now all enjoying so much. So with about 750 members, I think you've got them in 60 or 70 jurisdictions around the world. So what sort of engagement does the LMA offer to its members at the moment?
So primarily engagement's probably through emails. So I'd say probably 90% of our engagement comes out through now it comes out through Dynamics Marketing. Mm-hmm. So nice sort of streamlined process, but we also place quite a big weight on face-to-face engagement through our events and training. So we run those not probably as many places as we'd like to, but we try and certainly over the last year we've really put more of an emphasis on finding the right contacts within our members to actually engage with face to face. But yeah, primarily through emails, monthly CEO updates. We do LinkedIn posting as well, which is a good way of obviously gauging interest and reaching different segments of our member audience. We also have an LMA player, which is sort of like a LMA YouTube, if you like. So that's part of our content's getting out there through video as well.
And a lot of your market is the financial sector or legal operations around the financial sector as well. So it's quite similar to the sort of example we were showing earlier in some of your target market. But how engageable do you think those people are? Well, what do you think the key things that you can do are to get them more engaged?
Yeah, I mean, so many of those points raised really resonate. We have terrific ongoing challenges, I suppose, around ensuring we get the right contacts within organizations. But probably like every member organization, the members and the contacts within those organizations are time poor. So it is quite tricky to actually get people's attention, essentially. And you've got different contacts within each organization with a different view on what their role is and how we can sort of serve them and give them content that is appropriate for them. So what we've been able to do over the last year since we've gone over to Microsoft Dynamics is far greater ability to segment our output. When we're sending out an email, we've got the ability to personalize that email, which isn't really sort of cutting edge technology, but it is for us. So that's a terrific improvement. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the email.
And to Alan's point, I mean, you've been on this journey with us for a year or two now. But to Alan's point, quite a lot of this sort of operational technology has been around for quite some time. But I think the LMA is a good example of a reasonably successful and very large-reaching trade association that's really not sort of leveraged so much of that B2B stuff so far. So why do you think that was?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I could probably write a book about this part, but we've been on a massive sort of technology journey, coming from, believe it or not, when I sort of joined the organization in 2022, we were only a few years away from actually predominantly paper-based. The system that we had when I started was, whilst it said it was a sort of member B2B CRM, it was incredibly antiquated. Everything that we did in terms of the finance, in terms of the marketing, the content, as well as our sort of database, our member database, was all segmented. There was no integration at all. So we had some real technical challenges. In terms of the why, I suppose, I think part of it is just cultural. So within our organization, and every organization is unique in that respect. Everyone has a different, I suppose, view and relationship with technology, and a willingness to embrace new technology. So in that area as well, we've seen a real step change with my colleagues slowly but surely embracing technology and seeing it as a tool and something to help us rather than a frustration, because the view and the perception of technology was at a real, probably the lowest I've ever seen it in any organization.
Wow, and that sort of brings us quite nicely on to the next area to talk about, because we've covered a number of the different challenges, but as I think we're trying to dictate through what Alan was saying, technology isn't the barrier here. It's really the right technology in the right way, but again, getting staff on board, getting members on board, and so on. So Yeah, you're on the journey now. What we've done so far is have a central store of all relevant information, integrating that to some of the feeder systems, starting to get marketing going well as well, so you can be a lot more targeted. But you're on a journey. So still, how much sort of manual workarounds do you think are still in place that we're going to talk about this year's plans in a minute, but what sort of manual workarounds or improvement of staff adoption do you think can still be done? Because obviously it's an ongoing task.
Yeah, look, there's always more to do, and I think it's one of those that you sort of almost reach a plateau in that journey, to sort of use the euphemism, but and it's then that you can see, oh, now that we've done this, we've kind of got the basics sorted, fix the plumbing, as they say. Then it opens our eyes to all these new possibilities. So, for the first time this year, we ran the renewals process. Even though we changed quite a lot about our membership offering and the different membership packages that we offer, we actually ran that without, pretty much automatically a few clicks of a button. Whereas previously it was, I can't begin to describe you how much of a mess it was in terms of spreadsheets. It was very, very difficult. Previously we had, every year we have an annual conference, which all our members are invited to, and that's our flagship event. And again, sort of walking into the office and probably had 8, 9, 10 people. We're only a relatively small organization, so 26, 28 people. But around 10 people were just working on spreadsheets, trying to manage the registrations and attendees. And, my pet peeve, I always sort of joke my colleagues, or personal mission, I should say, is to get everyone off of Excel. Not because it's a very useful tool, a bit of a Swiss Army knife, but it's so prone to issues and corruption and problems with data. So, in terms of what areas that we're looking to improve, it really is a case of more of the same. So, improving the data, understanding processes, and I think we'll come on to that in a little bit, but that is the cornerstone and foundation of the use of AI or machine learning. So yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that where we're on that journey, to your point, Steve, about what we've improved on, but still to improve on further, is that value to the member. So again, similar to the renewals process we had, technically we could have shown a member how many events they've attended or how many visits to the website they've made from all of their contacts, but it would have probably taken 1 or 2 people the whole working day to do. We're not quite at the point that we want to be at, so it'd be lovely just to sort of come to one page and have everything from website, portal engagement, events attended, content consumed. We haven't got everything, but if somebody through our renewals process this year said, are you able to tell us, what we basically got from you to help make that decision internally as to whether to renew, we probably could do it in sort of 10 to 15 minutes. So massive improvements, but still room to improve.
No, that's good, and it's a nice snapshot, because really what we find with a lot of our customers that are adopting the new system and been in place for a year or 2 like you, the first thing we try to do is give staff time back. So the idea of renewals being a button press and then it works frees up so much time for membership. The idea of events where you essentially can market them, then people can register on the website, they can turn up and check in automatically and so on, takes away a lot of the event side. So that's when you can then start to focus a lot more on getting to know members, getting to know, providing better services and so on. So that's really good to hear. So let's have a look at what's next. So what are the things you're trying to reach out to your members better and do better now that you've got more ability to do that?
It's interesting what you just said, Steve, which is giving that time back, because I think what we've come around to realizing, and it's different for every membership organization, no doubt, but for us, actually the value of personal relationships and essentially like networking. So that's something that we are looking to do, and it might seem a very low tech initiative, if you like, but that's made possible by creating time through, instead of having to sit there with 10 spreadsheets and sending emails with BCC'd contacts, that can all be done relatively hitch-free. So that's one of our sort of, I suppose, core objectives. But it's quite timely. We've literally just kicked off a internal research piece on AI and how it could be used to help us, or can it be used at all? So that's still ongoing, and I suspect, my personal sort of suspicion is we still have got quite a lot of work to do on processes, formalizing what those processes are, making sure they're watertight, because I think it's you can't really inject AI into anything until you're 100% on what should be happening and when. So yeah, we're looking at AI, we're looking at potentially sort of virtual agents or chatbots, but really all of it comes down to how can we do more with the same number of people, essentially. So trying to become more efficient, trying to give more information and showcase more data to our members. So one of the things that we might be looking to do is surface more of the data that we have that's by request only, I suppose, back to our members through the portal. Previously it was literally all you could do was change your last name on our portal, and a few sort of email preferences. So we've got so many different things to improve on for the member engagement front.
Yeah, and getting the time to do that is key, as like we've talked about. And I mean, AI, and you and I are going to be talking about this later on in the week, but I think you saw our previous webinars in November last year, where we were showcasing some of the stuff we've done with various customers. But organizations like the Fire Industry Association is almost the same size as you in terms of numbers of staff, but they reckon they saved 1,500 man days a year, which is about 25% of their turnover in revenue terms. So that gave them an awful lot more time to just reach out and engage much better, and it's raised retention, it's raised member take-ons, new market areas, which are all the sort of things that I know LMA wants to do as well. So okay, so from a cold start then, we've got a number of people in the audience that are looking at the same sort of issues that you've got. What would you think are the key things that they should try to adopt and put out to their markets?
I suppose the answer depends on, I suppose, where they are on that sort of technical journey that we talked about earlier. But speaking only from our experience at the LMA, first and foremost, you've got to get the data in a really good shape.
Yeah.
That's got to be watertight. And that is the foundation to then obviously build whatever content you're putting out to your members. So absolutely look at the data with the process as well, understanding what your processes are internally, where they start and where they stop, who needs to be involved in each different part. So that's a kind of a really, really key one. I think the personalisation front is useful. So I think people can. It's very obvious when you're just getting sort of mass emails that aren't really appropriate for what you're doing, and that's something that we're really trying to improve as well, is understanding the different almost like contact types or user personas within each organization. It's never going to be perfect because every organization is unique to some degree, but it's a massive improvement from just one email going to 60,000 contacts. again, to do that, you've got to work on your data and ensure that that's in a good shape. I think what we found with the renewals process this year is that there is a massive benefit to being able to just fairly quickly recall, as I said, how have we improved your organisation and the work that you do by being a member of the LMA. So training and events attended. You can obviously apply financial metrics to that to sort of show the cost of what that would be if you weren't a member, that sort of thing. But it's kind of, it's basics really. Events.
It's the basics that build the foundation. So many
Absolutely.
organisations have struggled to be able to do through manual methods. So that's cool. So if we can move on a little bit, I know we've touched upon a number of the different things such as data and AI for this. So I think the last things, I'm conscious of time now, is we've developed a number of different AI downloads and so on the website. So I know you've looked through those. How useful have those been in your thinking so far?
Very useful. Yeah, and it's the world of AI is maybe it's just me, but it's very confusing as a place. So keep developing at a terrific rate. Every time you read a news article, it's sort of changed and moved forward significantly. And I think the challenge, certainly within the workspace and membership organisation space, is to understand how can we actually intersect AI to be something useful that's not just, oh, that's kind of interesting or cool. Where is the real value add from using AI? So yeah, I did have a quick look through Steve's the templates and the different articles, and I think what you've done, we've not sort of gone down that road with you yet, but I can certainly see that you simplified it a little bit. So you've made it
right
that we can understand it and we can actually see, right, okay, that could actually save us some time or some money.
Well, that's great to hear. One of our customers is like a senior IT director at a internationally famous membership association, but he's been an IT director for 25 years, and he said, look, we're all beginners again in this, so that's why we tried to simplify it and make it practical as well. So there's some examples here. So everyone, you can scan the QR codes to download these. They're all free. If you're on our website as well, we've got a whole range of different events coming up. So please do register for those as well. We try and make them different subjects with different things pulled out each time. So I know we're very short of time, Alan. Is there any Q&A, or should we wrap up?
Just one for anyone who's just got a minute, which was this one's come up a few times actually, which is my system doesn't handle B2B in the way that you've explained. Do I, and in particular on the website, do I need to replace everything in order to improve how I do B2B, or can I talk to you about doing something without replacing everything?
Is that for me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll fire that one at you, if I may.
Well, I'd say, yeah, of course you can talk to us, and please do, because it depends what your problems are. So we could probably fix some of them quite simply. Some of them might be more fundamental, but one of the things we often find is that a lot of CRMs are great at business to individual, but they don't consolidate individuals into organizations and help you market to both corporates and individuals while growing your individual relationships, because in the end that's what your corporate relationship's based on. So that's a structural thing in CRM. There are some workarounds around it, but it really depends on a whole range of different issues. So please, yeah, absolutely reach out and we'd be delighted to talk to you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Steve.
Good. Okay. So well, look, I hope you all found that useful. Thank you for attending, and thanks very, very much to Rory for insights and reflections on what we've been covering as well. We'll be sending out recordings of this and also links to various of the resources we've got. That'll be out later on in this week. But please, if you have any other questions, do feel free to talk to us. I know a number of you have already spoken to Becky, who's engaging and helping in a number of those areas. So we look forward to speaking to you again soon and hopefully seeing you at future webinars. Thanks very much.